Hello and welcome once again to the Sitrep podcast channel. I'm your host, Reconnaissance, and what we're presenting here is sort of an unofficial tabletop game video. Yes, believe it or not, it is true. Sometimes even I manage to squeeze in some miniature-based hobby. And through a long stretch of 2019 and 2020, I've been working slowly on some 15mm Marine Corps and Iraqi Army forces, specifically for the 1991 Gulf War. So now that we're in and amongst the 30th anniversaries of, Operation Desert Storm and so on, I definitely wanted to get some forces on a non-virtual table for a change and, actually chuck some dice around. So the system I'm using here is, believe it or not, sort of a shotgun shorthand version of Battlegroup by Iron Fist Publishing. Now, I know what you're thinking, Battlegroup is a World War II game. Why not use, say, Oil Wars for Team Yankee? Well, the truth is, I don't have enough books for Team Yankee, and I don't have Oil Wars at all, in fact. And I've always sort of loved, the elegance and tactical realism of the Battlegroup system. Or, at least as tactically realistic as you can get with 15mm miniatures in a modern, combined arms, sort of large-scale, combat setting. The other candidate that might have worked here is Northag, also by Iron Fist Publishing. This is almost a new version of Battlegroup, written specifically for the modern age. But again, I honestly didn't have enough of those books either, and I'm not really familiar with that system yet. Again, Northag is a distinct system from Battlegroup. It just shares a lot of the same DNA as Battlegroup, but it is its own system, and it's a system I'm not really familiar with. Also, that game is made primarily for 10mm miniatures, and of course I have 15mm miniatures here, so I just decided to stick with the devil I knew, and with Battlegroup, originally published by Iron Fist Publishing. Now, obviously, we are out of World War II here, so I had to create a lot of my own units, a lot of my own cards. I had to come up with my own stats for some of the weapon systems and some of the armor ratings. This is actually pretty easy to do with some careful comparisons. You also kind of data mine combat values for, ranges and attack values and armor factors from other systems. And you sort of port that over into Battlegroup. So it was actually a lot easier than I thought, to be perfectly honest. So the battle that we're going to go ahead and recreate here is a small part of the Battle of Al-Khafji, fought between elements of 1st Marine Division and 6th Brigade of 3rd Iraqi Armored Division on 29 January 1991. Yes, this is before the ground phase of the Gulf War actually got started. So we have the Marines on sort of what's, an aggressive defense. We have a recon element that's trying to withdraw, and then they sort of get rescued by an LAV force. This actually took place along the Kuwaiti border, again, starting on 29 January 1991. So here we have the right flank of the Marine Force. We have a command element there. You can see we have some officers talking on the radio, trying to look important. And we have an LAV 120mm mortar. Again, there's 120mm mortars in Battlegroup and lightly armored vehicles in Battlegroup, so these values are actually pretty easy to come up with. So that's sort of our Marine Corps support, element right there. Again, commanders and senior officers are very important in Battlegroup, so you really want to pay attention to and save some points in your list for that. We did have to come up with some new values for Marine Corps infantry. Obviously, AT-4s, LAWs, 40mm grenade launchers. These are things that you don't really see in World War II, so I had to kind of make up rules for them in Battlegroup. There you see the AT-4s. You also see the LAV anti-tank unit there. You also see a tow missile mounted on top of a Humvee over there on the right-hand side, and some more Humvees in support. Over here, so here are the values for the LAV anti-tank. Now, tow missiles were about the only thing I really had to kind of make up from scratch. Again, I do have some approximate values that I did manage to pull from other game systems. There is a little bit of math behind it, but in the end, I totally had to make that up, obviously. Okay, here is the other wing of my Marine Corps force. We're looking at 3 LAV-25s, a very common vehicle in the Marine Corps back in those days, and a full Marine Rifle Squad. Now again, a full Marine Rifle Squad has got 3 fire teams of 4 men each. Each fire team has an M249 SAW light machine gun and an M203 grenade launcher. So, the full composition of a Marine Rifle Squad is a little different than the kind of stuff that you're going to see in a World War II rifle squad. So it'll be a little bit more powerful. Obviously, we had to make up some new values there. Notice the rifles are now all 2 dice instead of 1 dice. Again, we're now all firing fully automatic assault rifles, or at least 3-round burst assault rifles. And of course, we have the LAVs with our 25mm autocannon. So those are going to be surprisingly effective against some light Iraqi armor. I sort of took the values of a German 20mm autocannon and a Soviet 37mm cannon and sort of split the difference. That's how we got that. And again, more Humvees with 50 cals, and again, another Marine rifle squad, although I seem to be missing, there he is, okay. Again, 3 fire teams of 4, 1, 2, 3, and a squad leader, the 13th man with the center fire team. Again, that's my sort of, 15mm attempt at 1991 era camouflage. But of course, it's, tabletop ready, and we'll see where we go from here. And of course, you have to have some bad guys. So here we have an armored mechanized force of, again, 6th Brigade, 3rd Iraqi Armored Division. We're starting off with a platoon of 3 T-54 55s. These are originally out of the Syrian T-54 box set by Battlefront. We're using them here for our Battle of Al-Khafji. Coming up with stats for the T-55 for Battlegroup wasn't that hard. There are some similar Soviet vehicles and units in Fall of the Reich that we were able to use as a comparison. Iraqi infantry, again, had to be upgraded to 1991 standards. Assault rifles for the average guy. Anti-tank missiles. There's our anti-aircraft missiles, just in case a Marine Cobra shows up. RPGs. This stuff is pretty easy to come up with. And of course, we have the BTR-60 infantry carriers. These were probably some of the easiest vehicles to come up with. They're a light armored vehicle, 2 machine guns and a small turret. One of them's basically a 60 caliber machine gun. Again, not that big of a stretch of the imagination. Once you have enough data in Battlegroup, you can sort of, fast forward it to 1991, come up with some unit cards like this, and you are all set and ready to go. Alright, so let's get this game started. The Iraqis on 29 January 1991 were obviously on the attack. So the first thing I'm going to do is move my first Iraqi force. That's my T-55 platoon. I'm going to give them a double move order. So basically they can move twice if they don't shoot. So there's their road movement rate of 14 inches. Again, that's only one of their actions. I gave them the double movement order, so they get to move again, basically. The problem is that they're no longer really on road moving forward, so their speed gets reduced quite a bit. The problem is what I want to do with these guys here. I want to get them up to the berm. Oh wait, let me not split them up with that Sager team that's sitting there by the berm already. So these 2 guys can reach the berm and shoot through that line of vegetation there. The 3rd tank, again with a 10-inch movement rate off-road, can't really make it all the way to the berm. You know what? No, never mind. I'm going to go ahead and back that whole platoon back away from the berm so that the Marines don't get the first shot. If I belly up to that berm, the Marines are going to hit me, and that's not good. Okay, so skipping ahead to the beginning of the Marine turn, the first thing we're going to do is roll for orders. It's 3d6 for a company-sized game, and ooh, man, that's a terrible roll there. Holy crap. Okay, it's 3d6 for a company-sized game. You do get to add 1 to your roll for every officer in your force. That was that 5 you saw me put in the box. So I have a grand total of 10 orders. But as you can see here, I have a lot more than 10 units in my force, so I'm not going to get to activate everything. The Marines might be startled or surprised by the Iraqi advance, and their first turn will not be too impressive. Okay, so the Marines are going to go ahead and take their first 2 activations. That's going to be these 2 tow-equipped vehicles, an LAV-AT and a Humvee with a tow missile mounted on it. They're going to hopefully take a bite out of the Iraqi armor right off the bat, if they have a line of sight on them, and it doesn't really look like it. Again, those T-55s did deliberately stay back behind that berm and vegetation, so this wouldn't happen. Now those BTR-60s, there is a much more of a clear line of sight there. They are going to be partially obscured by the berm, but there's no vegetation. So the first thing the Marines have to do is to observe the target. They have to basically spot it. That's a fail. That's a success. Okay, so mixed results there. So what we're going to be looking at here is the LAV-AT did not spot the target, so he will not fire. However, the Humvee did, so he needs a 2+ to hit, and boom, that's a hit with the tow missile. And a tow missile versus a BTR-60's armor isn't even worth it. So I'm just going to go ahead and wreck that vehicle, and yeah, we'll go ahead and end that fire action right now. Alright, one of the great things about Battlegroup is their battle rating counter system. So you can see here where I've mounted my battle rating counters on these little wooden Scrabble counters. Makes them easy to draw. And now that the Iraqis have lost a vehicle, I'm going to blindly draw. Promise I'm not looking. And I got a 2. So that's 2 battle rating points that are going to be assessed against the Iraqi total. And when the Iraqis exceed their battle rating for their force, they lose the game. Okay, the Marines are also going to go ahead and call in some mortars. I have a 120mm mortar in an LAV and also an infantry mortar as well. So I'm going to go ahead and designate that as my spot point, where my first spotter round is going to land. So first thing to do is see how accurate the mortars are. The LAV rolls a 6. That's very good news. That mortar round was very accurate. And the infantry mortar also rolls a 6. So that's great. That Marine barrage landed right on target. Great. Okay, an accurate mortar barrage means that each unit's barrage drifts by only 1d6 per barrage. So the first one drifts by 4 inches, and it drifts to 1 o'clock. So if that is 12 o'clock, we're going to drift by 4 inches to the 1 o'clock position, which means the actual impact point for the first barrage is there. Let's check the second barrage. Again, 1d6 only. It's 5 inches to 4 o'clock. Alright, that's not great, but, oh, or is it? Look at that, it lands right on the roof of that BTR-60. You know, this isn't exactly the way it works in Battlegroup, but I'm just going to go ahead and say that that round lands right there on that BTR-60 and wrecks that vehicle. Sweet. Okay, now we're going to go ahead and resolve that other mortar strike that landed over there. So, it's a double fire mission, because the vehicle did move. This is the LAV mortar carrier. So I'm going to go ahead and roll 2d6. And okay, a 6 is a kill, and the 4 is a pin unit. So we got 1 kill result and 1 pin result. We're going to do the pin result, we're going to do the kill result first. That's going to land on the closest unit. That is that BTR-60 that's trying to cross that median there. So, a shell has actually hit the roof of that BTR-60. We're going to do this one correctly here. So, we're seeing here that the armor piercing value for a 120mm mortar at this range is 3. That's just in case the shell lands directly on the vehicle, which in this case it did with that lucky 6. We compare it against an O-class armor rating. I'm looking here on the armor piercing table, and I think I'm finding that there is a 6 that's required to score a penetration. And I get exactly a 6. Okay, so if you tie the result that's required on the armor penetration value, the vehicle is not destroyed, but it is immobilized. So I'll put a little marker there to show that it's immobilized. And that's it for that. Now we're going to resolve that pinning result. You take the next closest target, that's going to be the other BTR. We're going to see if we can pin down the vehicle with mortar shrapnel. This is using the area effect table in Battlegroup, which is actually, it's not very killy, but it's really like the secret sauce of the Battlegroup system. This is really where you get a lot of good results. Unfortunately, I roll a 2, so there's no effect. That BTR-60 is not pinned down. Going over to that other BTR-60, again, it already killed the one BTR, so I'll only roll 1 more result, and it's another 6. So I'm going to see if I can kill that second BTR over there. Again, I need a 6, and I only get a 3. So again, no effect on that one. Alrighty, so now we're going to take a look at what these Humvees are doing. They're going to start opening up with 50 cals on those BTRs on the highway. So the first one does observe. He didn't have to move, so that means he gets his full 2 shots on an open fire order. And that's 2 hits. Awesome. Alright, cool. So that first Humvee scored 2 50 caliber hits on the BTR-60 coming across the highway. Now for the second Humvee. He doesn't have a line of sight yet, so I'm going to have to give him a move and fire order. So he's going to move through that little palm grove there. He's going to stay sort of undercover. And because he moved now, he only gets 1 shot. Does he observe? Yes, he observes. Does he hit? Yes, he does. Awesome. That's 3 hits so far from Marine Humvees. Okay, 1 more Humvee. Again, he also has to move. I'm trying to stay undercover. Again, because he moved, he only gets 1 shot. Does he observe? Yes, he observes. Man, this is great. Okay, but he doesn't hit. Alright, no worries. 3 out of 4 is still good. Now comes the tough part. We actually have 3 hits, but we have to penetrate that BTR armor. They're lightly armored vehicles, but I'm only firing 50 cals. So let me go ahead and get some stat cards down here. Okay, I'm finding the armor piercing value for 50 cals at this distance. It's not great. Great against trucks and very lightly armored vehicles. It's not a terrible chance, but it will be tough. So I'm looking here at the armor class for the BTR 60. Again, that's a letter. So you take the number of your armor piercing value and you take the letter of your armor. You find it on the armor piercing chart. And that's a penetration. Awesome. I'll take that. Okay, next one. Okay, that ping, ping, ping off the armor plate. And the last one, that's even better. That's a clear penetration. Okay, cool. So 9 was the number. So the 10 is a definite kill. The 9 is more of a tie, again, but he's already immobilized and he's already damaged. I'm just going to go ahead and say that 9 kills him, basically 2 immobilizations. So I'm going to go ahead and count both vehicles as destroyed. Again, we're playing kind of fast and loose here with the battle group system. And yeah, things are looking pretty good for the Marines over there on their left wing. So yeah, we'll see how this goes. Alrighty, now the Marines are going to get a little bit aggressive on the left wing. Things are going well for them there. They're going to press the advantage. My LAVs have a movement rate of 12. They're going to take a double move order, which gives them an adjusted movement rate of 24. So using my little bendable tape measure here, they're going to take positions just short of that berm. I don't want to crest the berm. I don't want to give the Iraqis a completely clear shot. There's no vegetation on that berm, so I will be visible, but at least they'll get the benefit of some cover, and the Iraqis will be trying to observe obscured vehicles. So there go my LAVs. And okay, next we're going to move up some supporting infantry. Again, that second squad over there has 3 fire teams of 4. Infantry moves at 5, so a double movement rate gives them 10 inches. I'm moving forward first fire team now, again using that berm as cover for damn sure. And now second fire team is going to do the same thing. They're pretty much going to leapfrog, advance, and take the positions formerly occupied by first fire team. And okay, there's the 4-man fire team, and don't forget the squad leader. Very good. And now we're going to take the third fire team, and yeah, it looks like they're pretty much going to occupy the positions occupied by second fire team a second ago. So we're sort of a leapfrog, sort of a fire and maneuver, sort of an advance there. And that's going to be the Marines developing things there on the left wing. So I'm trying to sort of turn the Iraqis on the left while I hold in defense on the right. That right is up against some T-55s and Saggers and yeah, RPGs. Not looking forward to that at all. Alrighty, so heading over to Iraqi turn 2, we're going to roll for orders, and ooh, the Iraqis are out for blood today. That is 17 plus 5 officers. That's going to be 22 total order. Yeah, they got enough. They can move everything they've got. Alright, so the first thing we're going to do is move these 3 T-55s. It's going to be 3 orders. They're going to get the move and fire order. So they're going to advance to the berm. 1, 2, 3. And then they're going to take shots at that American anti-tank position over there on the Marine right wing. Specifically, they're going to target that LAV. Now, the first one they're going to try to observe. Observing is going to be kind of easy. Okay, definitely with that roll. Because they did fire, they do have some cover. But, yeah, okay, it looks like all 3 of them did manage to observe. Okay, that's not so hot. Alright, now we're going to go ahead and measure the range for actual shots. Okay, so it's -1 off their accuracy because they moved this turn. They don't have stabilized guns. But that's okay because they only have to hit once. Needless to say, a 100mm gun versus an LAV armor is not going to be a pretty picture at all. So here we go. Here's the first one. They just have to hit. Here we go. Okay, 1, 2, and 3. Here we go. And that is a miss, and that 6, unfortunately for me, is a hit. Okay, so again, the D10 100mm gun on an LAV. Yeah, I'm not even going to bother looking at the chart for that. It's just toast. Technically, you can survive on a fluke roll, but no, it's toast. So now the Marines are going to go ahead and blindly draw a counter out of the battle rating chart, or out of the battle rating pool. They get a 3. Now, in a real game, you would not tell your opponent this. You would blindly draw it, and you would keep that hidden. The opponent knows how many battle rating counters you've drawn. They don't know what those battle counter ratings are. So you never quite know. This is one of the beautiful things about Battlegroup. You never know how close the enemy really is to breaking. or how close I am to breaking my table. Look at those planes falling over. Sorry about that. So, yeah, you can kind of guess. You can look at how many counters the enemy has. They're rated 1 through 5. It's not an even split of how many of each value is actually in the bin there. So you can kind of guess maybe 2.5 per counter that you see drawn, and you can sort of guess how badly you think the enemy is badly beat up. But in real combat, you never really know how badly hurt the enemy really is. Wrapping up the Iraqi turn, one of those BTR-60s did take a shot at one of my LAV-25s. Luckily, it missed both times on a double fire order. So, pretty good news there. The bad news is that whole Iraqi rifle platoon has now crossed that chain link fence. The chain link fence did slow them down a little. We're looking at 3 full squads of 8 plus 3 squad leaders. There's the platoon leader back there on the roof. You may have seen him there for just a second. They're starting to pile up against the Marine left wing. Over here on the right wing, things are even worse. We have those AT-3 Saggers belly up against the berm and 2 RPG-17s moving forward through the palm grove. Things are starting to look really bad on the Marine right wing, so we'll see what happens. Okay, beginning Marine turn 2, the first thing we're going to do is take a shot from that tow missile on top of that Humvee toward one of these Iraqi T-55s. They're behind that berm. So we're going to go ahead and go pick that one. He's our target for the turn. Alright, I need a 2+ on a actually need a 3+ on a D6. That's definitely a hit. That's very good news. So normally it's a 2+ to hit with these guided missiles, 3 because he's got partial cover. So here we have the penetration values of the tow. Now obviously you don't find these in Battlegroup or World War II, so I had to make it up. You can see where I have a penetration value of 16. That's higher than the value goes in Battlegroup. We're sort of breaking the game here. We have G frontal armor for the T-55, and what we're going to do is we're going to compare those two and get a number to penetrate. Tow versus a T-50, yeah, that'll do it. Tow missile versus a T-55, I mean, do the math. There it is. It's not that hard once you can hit the T-55 with a tow missile. So now we're going to draw a battle rating counter blindly out of the box to see, 5, maximum value. Yeah, the Iraqis felt that one. That burning T-55 made somebody mad back at Iraqi HQ, that's for sure. The Marines continue their desperate defense on the right with some fire from these 2 AT-4 rocket gunners. They're going to take a kind of a Hail Mary shot against some of those T-55s still behind the berm there. Okay, so checking the range. AT-4 still have the best range. Okay, I do have it. Alright, the range for an AT-4, or the hit number for an AT-4 is normally 3. However, they are behind that berm. The tanks are, so we're going to go ahead and crank that number up to a 4. And, yeah, we're going to see if we can take out some of these tanks. So there's 2 shots per gunner there, since again, they didn't have to move to get the open fire order. The first 2, that's 2 hits, very good. And the second one, okay, he does miss 1. So I'm looking at 3 hits with the AT-4s. Okay, that was, I'm sorry to say, the easy part, because now it's going to get a little tough. Alright, the AT-4's penetration value, especially at this distance, isn't the best. Then again, I am looking at T-55, so who knows, I might get lucky. These aren't exactly premier Soviet tanks. Alright, the AT-4 at this range has a penetration of 7 against a G. Let's see what we come up with. You cross-reference the anti-tank value versus the armor. A 10 on 2D6. Okay, that's not great. I do get 3 chances though, so who knows, maybe we'll get lucky. So first one, 8, close but no cigar. Second one, another 8, close but no cigar. Third one, come on, third 8. Too bad I'm not playing poker. But no, that's 3 hits but no penetrations. Now that does force 3 morale checks, I'm happy to say. So at least we might pin somebody down. A tank can get pinned down, the crew, gets scared, bails out, the commander freaks out. Okay, that's a 2, a 3, and a 6. Okay, the 2 is a failure because we're counting the Iraqis as regulars. So that is a pinned down tank, so at least we got something out of that. Next up in the Marine fire sequence is going to be this Humvee with the Mark 19 automatic grenade launcher. So yeah, I'm going to try and put some HE frag into that RPG team that's starting to creep up on me. Okay, so first thing I'm going to do is move that Humvee up against the berm, make sure I didn't cheat on movement. Okay, cool. And now I'm going to go ahead and measure the range. Now this is a move and fire order, so I only get to shoot once. First thing I have to do is observe. That is infantry concealed. Yeah, I got a lucky roll. Infantry concealed is pretty tough to spot. Now the weapon I'm going to be using here is something else you won't see in World War II. This is the Mark 19 automatic grenade launcher. It's a belt-fed 40mm grenade machine gun, basically. It throws a 40mm HE frag to a range of about 300 yards. So it doesn't have the greatest of range. It basically has squad for anti-tank value, but it does pretty good against infantry. I'm deciding not to go for a suppression kill or a suppression hit. I'm going to go for actual kills. I want to actually knock down some troops here. So the rules are different if you're going to use area fire or actually targeted fire. Basically, you're going for pins or you're going for kills. Here, probably against my better judgment, I'm going to go ahead and try to go for a kill. 3, that is a hit, I believe. Let me check my chart here real fast. Okay, cool. Now I have to see how much damage I did. Alright, so I get to roll 4 dice, and I need a 5 up. So here we go with 4 dice. Let me go ahead and gather up 4 dice. Here we go. And that's not so hot. I only scored 1 kill. Scored 1 kill, and the rest of that immediate 4-man fire team is pinned. So yeah, not great, but hey, better than nothing. Let's get serious about some Marine small arms firepower. So I've got 1 fire team already in position to observe that Iraqi squad. I need a 4 to observe. Okay, I did just barely get it. They're already in position, so I can give them a double fire, open fire order. They have 1 assault rifle, 2 assault rifles, 3 assault rifles. That third one does have a grenade launcher as well. And then the M249 SAW. This is the standard light machine gun that you see in every American fire team in the 1990s. So that's going to add a lot of dice to my pool as well. Again, I use 2 dice because, again, everything's automatic in the 90s. 2, 2, and 2 for my 3 assault rifles, and 6 for my M249 SAW. I'm going to go ahead and replace one of those dice with my U.S. Marine Corps dice that my friend Andrew gave me at one of the on-tabletop boot camps. So, this is obviously a Marine roll here, so we got to use the dice. Now, my roll to hit those Iraqis who do have partial cover isn't the best. I am pretty close, though, as you can see there on the table. So I'm hoping the number of dice is going to sort of compensate for my... Oh my... Oh, look at that roll! 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 kills! Good grief, there's only 9 guys there. 2 complete fire teams and a squad leader. So I'm just going to go ahead and shovel all them off the table. That was pretty cool. That's 2 units, that's 2 fire teams. So I'm going to draw 2 battle rating counters out of the tub here, blindly for the Iraqis. Come on, give me a Cobra gunship. Give me a gunship. And I wind up with, hey, 2 4s, I'll take it. Those are high numbers. Good to go. Okay, I've taken the rest of the Marine turn here by moving up some more fire teams on the left wing. That first fire team is kind of stuck because he took a double fire action. But I've moved up the rest of the fire teams in that second squad there. There's the squad leader. And that squad leader's managed to pull up one of his Humvees. The rest of these Humvees and the other Marine units are kind of stuck because I've run out of orders. You only get so many. I did manage to pull up these 3 LAVs, however. They're going to take a flank shot on that first T-55 there behind the berm. So he's going to get a 4, he needs a 4, he needs a 5, because again, that third LAV is sort of shooting through some brush there, so we're going to give the T-55 partial cover. Observation is automatic because he's already fired and that T-55 is no longer obscured. He's no longer behind the berm for some of these guys. So that first 4 is a hit, that second 4, that's a miss, and that guy needs a 5. Okay, that's also a miss. So I only got 1 hit. That could have been better. Obviously they moved and fired, so I couldn't shoot twice. Alright, the penetration for the 25 autocannon is 2 at this range against a K for flank armor on a T-55. Ugh, that's not so hot. So here we have a 2 versus a K that is an 11 plus on 2d6. Stranger things have happened. No, that's a miss. It does force a morale check though, so maybe I pinned him, and no, I did not pin him. He definitely made his morale check. Well, it was worth a shot. Alright, so here we are at the end of turn 2 for both sides. And yeah, things are looking pretty rough for everyone involved. We've got some pinned down RPGs, a pinned down T-55. We've got a burning T-55, and yeah, despite all that, things are looking pretty rough for the Americans here, for the Marines on their right wing. I do have a burning LAV anti-tank. That's my most powerful anti-tank unit. Things are going much better for me over here on the left, I'm happy to say. I've pretty much broken the Iraqi right wing. I'm starting to turn their right wing. There is one BTR left and the bulk of that infantry platoon. I'm not too worried about that. And maybe I can get some flanking shots on that last operational T-55. That other T-55 is probably going to rally though pretty soon, so I got to watch out for that. So that's going to be our episode for now, guys. Stay tuned for part 2 of this game when we see how this all shakes out. Take care, everybody, and so long.